Hey there, it's Lacey J, here to ask you to go to spacebearmedia.com right now to access all our content, buy yourself some merch, and most importantly, send us a message, a question, fan mail, even hate mail. We'll respond on YouTube. Also, please remember to rate and review the podcast on your favorite app or share it with someone you know who loves Lost. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Lost in My 40s, Season 5, Episode 4. It's called The Little Prince. It's a Kate episode. It's a Christy episode. But first, how's everybody doing?
Awesome.
Great.
Doing great.
Whoop. Glad to hear it. Ben, please remind us what our power rankings look like after Episode 3 of Season 5.
Yep. And third from the bottom, we've got Ethan with negative 19 points. Our favorite flambe artist, Frogert, negative 29 points. And Charles Woodmore taking the bottom spot, negative 32 points. Really, it's the younger Charles Woodmore that did that. I don't think the older one had much to do with it. But the top
They're
slots,
both dicks.
we've got Sawyer in third place with 14 points. Hurley, the mayor of Islandtown, in second place, which he's not even on the island, but still the mayor of Islandtown, with 20 points. And far and away in the lead, Dan Faraday with 39 points.
39 points. All right, Christy. This was to balance out giving you the Hurley episode. You've now got the A-Aron episode.
Yeah.
All right. Take us through The Little Prince.
All right. Well, starting in the only flashback, it's nighttime on the Searcher. Jack is looking out to sea, and Kate approaches with a sleeping A-Aron. Jack whispers, "Hey," but Kate says he doesn't have to because when A-Aron is out, he is out. She then proceeds to tell him that Claire was on the plane to LA to give A-Aron up for adoption, and she thinks that they should say that A-Aron is hers. They could say that she was 6 months pregnant when she was caught and gave birth on the island. Jack says that Kate doesn't have to do that, but she says, after everyone we've lost, Michael, Jen, Sawyer, I can't lose him too.
I think it's amazing that she included Michael first when she said that. It wasn't like Michael.
First,
She's like, Michael, like,
Yeah.
Jack reminds her that Sawyer isn't dead, so Kate points out that he's still gone. And Jack says, Kate, if we're going to be safe, if we're going to protect the people that we left behind, tomorrow morning, I'm going to have to convince everyone to lie. If it's just me, they're never going to go for it. So I'm going to turn to you first. Are you with me, Kate? And Kate replies, I have always been with you.
Started off with a lie.
except when Sawyer was raw dogging me in the bear cages.
Exactly,
But, you know.
So in the present, off the island, Kate is looking in a mirror, trying on a jacket. Sun enters and asks if it fits, and Kate says it's perfect and thanks her for loaning it. Sun asks Kate if she's sure she wants to do this, and Kate chuckles a bit and says, it was your idea. Kate tells A-Aron that she's going to be right back, and Sun says not to worry about them. There's candy in the minibar and 100 TV channels.
Just 100?
I know, right? Kate thanks Sun, saying that she doesn't know what she would have done without her. She tells A-Aron to behave, and before leaving, Sun wishes her good luck. When Kate's gone, a delivery man shows up and gives Sun a package.
Sun flips on Cinemax and gives Aaron a bottle of tequila and says, have fun, kid.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, minibar, you know.
Yeah, you might as well.
She tells A-Aron that she'll be right back, and she takes the package into the bedroom. She opens it to find surveillance reports of Ben, including photos of him with Jack. She opens a box of chocolates included in the package, and under the tray, she finds a gun.
Uh-oh.
So her whole sort of menacing, oh, and how's Jack kind of comment comes into focus now.
I know.
Lost title screen. Back on the island, somewhere in time, Miles fills it. The outline says he fills a canteen, but it's a giant fucking flask.
It is a flask.
Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miles fills a flask with water from the stream and brings it to Daniel and Juliet, who are examining an unconscious Charlotte. Juliet's trying to wake her up. Sawyer's panicking a bit, and Juliet says, "Stop shouting, James."
Okay.
She turns her attention to Faraday. "If there's something you want to tell me, Daniel, now would be a good time."
Whoa.
Well,
Daniel's confused, and then Sawyer starts bitching at him for knowing this would happen and doing nothing. Juliet tells Sawyer to go away and then asks Daniel if he knew this would happen. He said, "I thought it might. I think it's neurological. Our brains have an internal clock, a sense of time. The flashes throw the clock off. It's like really bad jet lag." Juliet reminds him that really bad jet lag doesn't make you hemorrhage, and then asks why it's not happening to all of them. And Faraday says, "I don't know, but thank God it's not."
And there's some foreshadowing.
It hemorrhages
Again.
when you do Spirit Airlines. It actually does hemorrhage.
right. I think part of an Alaska Airlines fell off today or yesterday.
What?
Like around 16,000 feet. Like the side of the plane came off, like one window of it, and depressurized the cabin at 16,000 feet.
Oh, damn. There's
Sucked
some ears
kid's
popping in
shirt
that.
off.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, the boy's shirt was sucked off, like right out of the plane. Luckily, the kid wasn't, but
Yeah. Oh, I completely
I guess
missed
he was
that.
wearing a seatbelt.
so they grounded all
Holy.
the 787 MAX 8s again.
Wow.
Not a fan of that plane
Man,
at all.
Alaska Airlines have been having some serious fucking problems lately. They had
yeah.
one guy that wanted to kill everybody, and then now their planes are just falling apart.
Oh, you mean the pilot? Yeah.
Yeah, sit in the jump seat and try to turn the engines off in flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, he claimed that he did that because he took mushrooms 48 hours beforehand. I'm like, bro.
Bullshit.
Do they last that
Mushrooms
long?
don't.
No.
No.
First
Okay.
of all, they don't make you crazy. He claimed that he thought he was in a dream and he had to land the plane to wake up.
So
But
you land a plane by turning the engines off. Perfect.
I know,
There you
but mushrooms don't do that to you. And also, they're in your system for like 4 to 6 hours, not
Yes.
48.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, an unstable person, I could buy some of the rest of that, but the simple fact that it was 2 days later is just total bullshit.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Anywho.
All right. Well, back in the present, off the island, Kate is looking out of a window in an office. Dan Norton enters the office and thanks her for waiting and offers her a drink. Kate says she's fine and then brings up whoever his employer is.
She does look fine in this scene.
Mhm.
She does
Yeah.
look nice.
Yep.
He restates that he can't tell her that, so Kate says, "I'm here to offer you a deal. I'll give you the blood samples, but first I want to talk to your client. Considering what you're asking for, that's more than reasonable." Norton replies, "Well, I'm seeing my client later today, and I will be sure to pass along your offer, but I'm pretty sure of what the answer is going to be. No. And the reason, of course, is that you're in no position to be making any kind of deal, and we both know it.
Damn.
Ruh-roh.
I have a signed court order compelling you to let us confirm that you're the child's mother. I could send the sheriff over there today and make you do it, but my client insists that we handle the exchange of custody quietly."
Oh.
Yeah.
Exchange
Kate's
of custody.
freaking out by exchange of custody and says, "No, Mr. Norton, I just want to know who's doing this to me." And he says, "You did this to yourself. Now it's time for you to prepare yourself, Miss Austin. You are going to lose the boy."
Whoa.
On the island, Lord only knows when in time they are, Sawyer and Locke watch as Juliet and Daniel are still examining Charlotte. Locke says they have to get to the orchid because that's where all this started. Maybe it's where it'll all stop. Locke wants to go to the beach and take the Zodiac raft. He knows that Ben was able to leave the island through there, so maybe it'll work for him too, and he can save them. Sawyer wants to know what kind of help, and Locke says, "This is all happening because they left. I think it'll stop if I can bring them back." When Sawyer asks who, Locke says, Jack, Son, Saeed, Hugo, Kate. Sawyer thinks they blew up on the boat, but Locke says he knows that they're alive. Sawyer wants to know how, but Locke says, that doesn't matter. All that matters is that they've got to come back. I have to make them come back, even if it kills me.
Whoop.
Don't you want him to come back, James?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you want her to come back?
Her.
Sawyer says it doesn't matter what he wants, just as Miles starts yelling that Charlotte is awake. At first, she doesn't recognize Daniel, but then asks what happened and says her head hurts. Daniel tells her that there was another flash and she passed out. She says she's a bit dizzy, but fine, so Michael says flatly.
Michael?
So Miles
Michael?
says,
Michael
yeah, I don't know where
Flatley?
that came from.
Michael Flatley, Lord of the Dance?
So Miles says flatly, hooray, everything's back to normal. Now what?
Hell yeah.
Sawyer pipes up to say, I'll tell you now what. We're going to the Orchid.
Okay.
In the present, off the island, Jack is examining Saeed in the hospital and tells him that his dilation is almost back to normal. Saeed says good, and then tells him to take the IV out of his arm. They need to go.
Thinking about another type of dilation. And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
It's a 10, yeah. It's crowding.
You just gave birth to a little baby Saeed.
Yeah.
Pupil dilation, not vaginal.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
Jack tells Saeed, you were unconscious for 42 hours. You had the equivalent of 3 doses of horse tranquilizer in your system.
Oh my God, Saeed was in a K-hole.
I know.
Yeah, man. The deepest K-hole of all time.
Oh my God.
Saeed says that if Jack sent Ben to Hurley's house, then they need to leave now. Jack insists that Ben is on their side, and Saeed says the only side he's on is his own.
Yep.
A woman enters the room and asks to speak with Jack. They step out and she says, what do you think you're doing here? You were suspended on charges of substance abuse. Emergency or not, Dr. Shepard, you have no business being here.
Oh boy.
Jack's apologizing and then his phone rings. So he excuses himself to answer. And at the other end is Hurley calling from jail.
Oh boy.
He wants to know if Saeed made it to Jack, and Jack confirms that he did. Jack wants to know where he is, and Hurley says, dude, I'm totally cool. I'm in the LA County lockup. Oh, and tell Saeed I did exactly what he said. I'm totally safe. Ben's never going to get me now. Thanks, dude.
Oh, no. Oh, Hurley.
Jack is in shock when the line disconnects. He sighs, turns around, and finds Benjamin Linus entering the hallway.
Oh.
Ben says, good, you're here. How's Saeed?
Always business.
Yep.
Cut to Saeed's room, where a nurse enters and says he's got Saeed's meds.
Mm-hmm.
Saeed is immediately suspicious and says he's got the wrong room.
Right, because wait, hold on. Like, wait a second. Saeed knows that Jack just brought him in here randomly. The doctor's yelling at Jack that he shouldn't be in there, but somehow the nurse has orders?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, the nurse says that he's got the orders right there and we'll just need to give an injection into the IV.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Is that a dark gun in your pants, or are you just happy to see me?
Basically. Plastic crinkles as the nurse opens their supplies, turns, and then fires 2 darts into the pillow where Saeed had been lying.
Good,
Saeed jumps up from the ground, grabs the guy, and they struggle. Saeed manages to
seriously question this guy's target acquisition capabilities. He fired 2 shots where there was no person.
Yeah.
This is not the guy you want to have
From
a gun. This
3
person
feet
should not
away.
handle a gun, period.
Yeah. He must have been a stormtrooper in another life.
Right.
That's right.
Seriously.
Somehow Saeed has a plastic cord that he manages to get around the nurse's neck, and he says, who are you? Who are you working for? The guy grunts and says, address. It's in my pocket. Saeed shoots 2 darts into the nurse and then grabs a piece of paper from the nurse's pocket. Ben and Jack enter the room to find Saeed and the drugged man. And Saeed says, do we know anyone who lives at 42 Panorama Crest? And
42.
Yep. And Jack replies, that's Kate's address.
I stalk it every night. I sit out every night.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Jack is exiting the elevator in the hospital and calling Kate. She answers, and he starts telling her to get A-Aron out of the house when she interrupts to say that she isn't home and that A-Aron is in a hotel room with Sun watching Cinemax.
Drinking tequila.
Right. Jack is surprised that Sun is in LA, and Kate says this isn't a good time. She needs to go.
Never is.
Jack insists that he sees her right now, so she tells him where she is. She gives him the address, and Jack says he's on his way. He hangs up and tells Ben and Saeed that he's going to get her right now. Ben says he'll go deal with Hugo, but Saeed says he's not letting him get anywhere near Hurley. Ben says, you have friends in trouble. Let's get them to safety and save the dirty linen for later.
Yep.
I mean, okay.
Yep. Saeed grabs the keys from Ben's hands and says, I'll drive. Ben looks to Jack and says, after you get Kate, meet us at the Long Beach Marina, slip 23. And Jack, hurry.
What?
We're running out of time.
Whoa.
Back on the island, Locke is leading Sawyer, Juliet, Daniel, Charlotte, and Miles through the jungle. Thunder is rumbling, and Sawyer's questioning Locke about what he's going to say to get Kate to come back. Locke says he hasn't figured that part out yet. Sawyer reminds him that she was pretty excited to get on that chopper and leave. Then the group sees a beam of light in the distance. It's from the hatch window the night Booth died. When Locke was pounding on the glass until Desmond turned on the light. Locke says they better steer clear of it and they need to go around. Faraday says, John, do you know when we are? And Locke replies, we need to keep moving. But before doing so, Locke stares at the light for a few more seconds before joining the group.
That's intense. I mean, and you know, he talks about it a little later too, but like running into that moment in your life, that would throw me for a loop if I was Locke.
Yeah.
Rewatching that moment. Remember that moment in fucking season 1? That's one of the most intense moments of season 1, I think. And there we just like got a glimpse of it again. I kind of love it.
Moments later, the group is making their way through the jungle. Faraday's checking in on Charlotte, and she tells him that her feet are sore, and that's masking the pain in her head. Daniel chuckles and tells her she can rest when they get to the Zodiac. She tells him that he's sweet, but he doesn't need to baby her. Behind them, Miles puts his hand to his nose, and it's bleeding.
Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh!
Suddenly, they hear a woman screaming in the distance. Sawyer tells him to stay put, and then he cocks his rifle so they know he's serious.
Yep.
He follows the sound and comes upon Claire giving birth with Kate's assistance.
What?
Holy fuck.
We rewatch the scene while Sawyer looks painfully at Kate. A-Aron is born and begins to cry.
And never fucking stops after that.
Right? No. Sawyer is overcome with emotion. Suddenly, the buzzing, magnetic humming is heard. White light starts filling the screen, and the sound stops. Somewhere else in time on the island, it's now daytime. Claire, Kate, and A-Aron are gone. Locke is there now and wants to know what Sawyer found. And Sawyer says, don't matter. It's gone now.
Oh.
Present day off the island, Kate is in her car while Jack is crossing the street to her. He smiles and makes his way over to the driver's window. She comments on his shaved beard, and he says that he needed a change. Also, that beard was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
I love it. On this, it actually says shaved head.
I did. I don't know
I
what
changed
outline.
That's one of the reasons.
Getting through these outlines and making these timelines, they're so tedious to me that by the time I finish one, I rarely go back. I let spell check do its thing, but then I just miss random shit, like where I wrote he's shaved his head.
Or he spelled the same guy's name 3 different ways.
You know.
That's why I like to read through them before,
right. To find all of my stupid mistakes.
Yeah, you get more comedic moments though when you don't read it through before and you just kind of recite it because then all those little things kind of leak through and we have things to laugh at.
So Kate tells Jack that she can't deal with whatever he wants right now and asks him to go. Why did she even fucking tell him where she was then?
Seriously.
He pushes her to tell him what's wrong, and she says, somebody wants A-Aron. There's a lawyer in there. His clients, they know we're lying. They know I'm not his mom, and they're going to take him away. As Jack is asking who's going to take him away, we see Dan Norton leaving the parking garage of his office. Kate puts her hand on the wheel, says she's got to go, and he needs to get in or don't. She starts the engine, and Jack hurries to get into the passenger side. Back on the island, we have Locke, Sawyer, Juliet, Daniel, Charlotte, and Miles trekking through the jungle. Sawyer's leading the way, rifle in hand. Locke wants him to tell him what he saw back there, but Sawyer refuses. Locke says, you and I both know when we were before the flash, James. So who was it you saw? Charlie, Shannon, yourself? And Sawyer replies, yeah. Sawyer replies, and how is it that you knew when we were, Johnny boy? That light in the sky? It was from the hatch, wasn't it?
Johnny boy.
Locke says the night that Boone died, he was confused and scared and pounded on the hatch, looking for answers. Sawyer wants to know if he found one, and Locke says, no, it was just a light.
Wow.
Sawyer wants to know why Locke didn't go in that direction. And, he could have told himself to make different choices and avoid some pain. But Locke said, no, I needed that pain to get to where I am now.
Oh.
Well.
Quite the stoic.
Yes.
Ah, yes. Good Lord, you're burpy today.
Behind them, Miles and Daniel are walking together. Miles tells Daniel that he had a bloody nose and doesn't want to alarm anyone, but he does want to know why it's only him and Charlotte. Faraday says, I don't know. I think it might have something to do with the duration of exposure. The amount of time you've spent on the island.
Wait, what?
Miles says that doesn't make any sense because those yahoos have been here for months and he's only been there for 2 weeks. Faraday asks, are you sure about that?
What?
Yeah, this whole thing doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Like even the hypothesis that the amount of time that you spend on the island is somehow proportional to it, because like Minkowski and people like them were never actually even on the island, yet they were having these sorts of issues. Right. I mean, I guess it's different because they didn't actually go through flashes. They were just going in and out of the sort of island perimeter or whatever.
Different. No, they were going in and out of their own lives. Remember, he was going through what Desmond was going through in the Constant, and what Teresa is going through apparently permanently is they were flashing through their own life in time, but this appears to be different. Whatever's happening to the people on the island.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, of course, like why he magically comes up with that, again, that's just TV magic, right? Like Daniel just knows things, and he's got his notebook and he just makes these random declarations about why things are, and it's stuff that you're kind of not gonna explain, I think. I mean, the point of it is like, now we're wondering, what do you mean? So Charlotte has spent the most time on the island and then Miles? And like, how is that possible? Yeah. What does that mean?
So they arrive at the beach and the camp is back. Sawyer's calling for Rose and Bernard and asking if anybody wants a Dharma beer.
Rose is too busy bitching at Bernard.
Yeah.
Yeah. We see that the beach camp has been deserted. The tents are worn. There's no food in the kitchen, only trash.
You're a dentist, not a bartender.
Seriously.
Sorry.
It looks as if no one's been there for years. Locke finds a rope that used to be Vincent's leash. And Sawyer asks, yeah, where's the rest of him? The Zodiac is also missing, but there is a pair of canoes that has appeared.
Oh.
Miles picks up a water bottle from the canoe, and it's labeled Ajira. Juliet tells him that that's an Indian airline, but they fly everywhere.
Huh.
Sawyer wonders if they might be able to find a flight to Vegas today. Locke decides they shouldn't wait for whoever left these boats, and he starts pushing one into the water.
Does anyone know what these boats are called?
Is it an
They're
outrigger?
like the Polynesian
Outriggers.
I think it's
outriggers. Is that what they are?
Yeah. That's
I'm
what
pretty
the
sure.
Polynesians had those.
Yeah. Okay.
The 6 of them are now paddling in the ocean, and Miles is complaining that they don't have a boat with a motor. Locke tells him it's only a couple of more hours, and Miles replies, "Oh joy."
A couple hours of that
He's
rolling.
he's so one note, you know.
It is a bit whiny.
Yeah.
I would want to row for hours either in that damn boat.
Well, agreed. Yeah, but Charlotte's like, oh, my feet hurt, so I'm not paying attention to my head. Like she's a trooper, and Miles is just meh. I don't have a boat with a motor. Like, shut up, Miles. You're alive, aren't you?
I see dead people. Meh.
I see.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I don't think he sees them though. I think he just hears them.
Yeah, it's whatever.
He hears dead people.
Juliet noticed that Sawyer is looking a bit shaken and asks if he's all right. He says, "I saw Kate last night in the jungle before the last flash. She was delivering Claire's baby." Juliet is surprised because that was only 2 months ago, and Sawyer says, "Time travel's a bitch." Suddenly there are gunshots, and everyone turns to see the other canoe is now following them.
Oh.
Miles says, "I think they want their boat back."
Okay,
They start
thanks, Miles.
paddling as fast as they can, and a bullet hits Sawyer's paddle. Juliet gives Sawyer her paddle, picks up the rifle, and returns fire. She hits one of the pursuers, but the other boat keeps getting closer. Suddenly, buzzing magnetic humming, the white light begins to embrace them. Sawyer looks to the sky and shouts, "Thank you, Lord!"
But it's funny when this happened. I said, I bet they're going to flash like into some kind of hurricane or some storm. And
Right.
bam. Yep.
And of course, they're still in the boat. The boat doesn't go
Right.
anywhere. They,
Right.
yeah.
Right. It
So,
wouldn't really be
yeah.
a hurricane, right, though? Because it's the Pacific. It'd be like a typhoon or something.
Yeah, typhoon or
they have-
Same
tropical
exact thing.
cyclone.
Yeah, tropical
know.
cyclone.
I know it's the
I think
same
they have
weather.
hurricanes in the Pacific, too.
But they call
No,
them
they have
typhoons.
different
No, but they
names.
call them
If-
typhoons.
Yeah, if a tropical cyclone starts in the Indian Ocean, it's called one thing. If it starts in the Pacific, it's another. And if it starts in the
Yeah.
Atlantic, it's yet another. So, yeah.
It's all the same
Okay.
weather pattern. It's just
Right.
Yeah.
you only call it a hurricane. It's like how mountain lions and panthers are the same cat, but depending on where they are, that's
Pumas.
what the name is. Yeah,
Pumas,
exactly.
cougars, mountain lions. Yeah, it's all the same
Yeah.
shit.
Same thing. Anywho, thank you, Lord, he says.
Yes. I was just Googling if there are hurricanes on the Pacific coast.
She doesn't believe us.
They are if they form. You know, there's
I
hurricanes
knew
hit-
that I used to know that they were called typhoons, but then recently in the last couple of years, I've seen them calling hurricanes in the
Yeah.
Pacific hurricanes.
Oh, I
Yeah.
mean,
Like
maybe
Hawaii got
something's
hit by-
changed.
Yeah,
I don't
they
Because
call
Hawaii
them-
gets hit by hurricanes, not typhoons.
Exactly.
Typhoons are what hit in Asia,
Okay.
and I think those are the ones that start in the Pacific. And then there's the cyclones, I think, are the ones in the Indian Ocean. But they're all tropical typhoons. Like all
Right.
hurricanes and all
Right.
that, they're all tropical typhoons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hurricanes developed are called that when they developed over the North Atlantic, Central North Pacific, and Eastern North Pacific.
There you go. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Well, there
So
you go.
you're right.
Ah.
There
And
are
cyclones
hurricanes
when
there.
they form over the South Pacific and Indian Oceans, and typhoons when they develop over the Northwest Pacific.
There we go.
Okay. Wow.
There
It's
you
even
go.
more specific than I
Yeah,
thought it would
yeah.
be.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
All right.
All right.
just
So
a lot
thank
of
you,
wind.
Lord.
Yeah.
Yes. Now they flash, and it's suddenly nighttime and pouring rain. The survivors are still in the canoe. Thunder is rumbling, and still pointed towards the sky. Sawyer yells, "I take that back!" Thunder rumbles, lightning flashes. Locke says, "Everybody paddle, head for the shore."
And
Thanks,
another
Locke.
love grows cold on a sleepless night.
What are you singing?
Says, the thunder rolls and the lightning
Oh.
strikes.
Garth Brooks?
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good song.
It is a great song.
Yeah, Garth
Yes.
Brooks in the 90s was fucking great. Some of the
Fuck
only
yeah,
country I really like. But
Yeah.
yeah.
He's a great
What was his
songwriter.
alter ego?
Chris Gaines.
Yes.
Mhm.
That was
that
so
was-
stupid.
It was really bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
that
know he had
was
an
weird.
alter ego. Wow.
Yeah. We had he had like black hair and everything, but it was just Garth Brooks singing like,
He was like emo Garth Brooks.
Yeah, it was like
singing
emo
pop
Garth
music.
yeah.
Emo Garth Brooks.
Yeah, he
Yeah. It was
started
really
the whole
funny.
he started the whole emo trend. A lot of people don't know that. That's a lie. That was a lie.
All right. Back in the present, off the island, Jack and Kate are parked outside of a motel. Giggity.
Going at it.
They see Norton walk up some stairs towards the room. Jack is saying that just because he's at a motel doesn't mean he's meeting the right client.
Could be a whore.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was about to say
I mean,
that kind of client.
My kind
He's
of
the
client.
client. He's the client.
Exactly.
Jack says, what if the person who wants to take A-Aron is sitting in that hotel room right now? Then what? Come on, come with me. We'll go get A-Aron. We'll put our heads together and we'll figure something out. Kate
He wants to put
agrees.
his head somewhere.
Oh, the game of three-hole.
Kate agrees just as the motel door opens and a middle-aged blonde woman can be seen. Kate says, oh my God.
Oh.
Jack lets out a huge sigh and says, it's Claire's mother.
Bum, bum, bum.
Fuck.
Sometime later, we see Norton running to his car outside the motel, holding his briefcase over his head to shield from the rain. Kate and Jack watch him drive away. As Kate pulls down the clutch, Jack places his hand over hers and tells her to wait. He wants to go talk to Carol. Kate is shocked, but Jack says, if I can just explain to her why we did it, maybe if I can get her to understand why, she'll listen to me. I can fix this, Kate.
Oh,
I can
Jack.
fix it. He thinks he can fucking fix everything.
Do it, Jack. Well, he's a surgeon.
Right. And he says,
Like a
hey,
surgeon.
A-Aron is my family too. Kate closes her eyes, holding back tears. She gives him a weak smile and nods. Jack leaves the car and begins running to the motel. Sorry.
You know what? Doesn't it rain in Los Angeles like once a year or something? Why is
It's
it
not
always
very
Not as
often.
often as
Yeah.
it
Why
rains
is it
in the
always
show.
raining in LA on Lost? I don't get it.
Every time I've been to LA, it's rained.
Oh, that's so
Really?
weird.
So I know
Yeah,
they were
it's
in a
really
drought
weird.
forever.
Because that's rare, I think.
Inside her motel room, Carol looks at a framed photo of Claire. There's a knock on the door. She sighs, opens the door, and sees Jack. She's surprised but welcoming and asks how he knew she was there. Jack says, I knew you were here, Miss Littleton, because I followed your lawyer. I understand that you feel the need to do this, but I need you to know that everything Kate and I have done, it was for A-Aron. She looks at him puzzled and says, who's A-Aron?
Huh?
What? What?
Whoa. So much
Jack
for that
is-
theory.
Less than 30 seconds.
Jack's like, no, buddy. I was just joking.
Yeah.
Jack is stunned and confused and says, Miss Littleton, what are you doing here in Los Angeles?
Imagine Jack goes, A-Aron's the little boy that lives in my mouth.
What?
It's from The Shining.
Red rum. Red rum.
Red rum.
It's still raining when Jack runs back to the car. He gets in and says, let's go, drive. Then call Sun and tell her to bring A-Aron to the Long Beach Marina. We'll meet her there.
Oh, my.
Kate says she's not going anywhere until she knows what happens. He tells her it was a coincidence that Carol's in LA. She sued the Oceanic Airlines and is here to pick up her settlement. She doesn't know anything about A-Aron and still thinks that Claire is dead.
Do they not have fucking wire transfers in Australia? I
Yeah.
mean, why would she
That's
need
so
to go
weird.
there to pick up her settlement?
And also, how the fuck did he get back out of that
DocuSign.
room? How did he get back out of that room without having to explain himself? Once she says that she's there for her oceanic check, don't you think, like, if you were her, wouldn't you be like, and why the fuck were you following my lawyer, you
Yeah, I know.
creeper?
Yeah.
And who's
And I-
Aaron?
Yeah,
can-
who's
Yeah.
A-Aron?
You could tell she's a really auxiliary character because that like closure is just not required.
Right.
Yep.
Nobody
It'd
cares
be
about
amazing. She starts doing that and he just goes face and walks away.
Shut your mouth, Carol. Bye.
Well,
That
Kate thinks
bitch,
that
Carol
it's weird that she
Baskin.
just happens to have the same attorney as whoever wants A-Aron and asks, who is it?
Ben, did you just say this bitch Carol Baskins?
How's that
He
bitch
did.
Carol Baskin?
Oh my God.
Sorry, I heard that like late.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. Keep going, Christy.
Saeed and Ben are still driving in the van, and Ben asks why Saeed took it upon himself to rescue Hugo. Saeed says, I had to make sure Hurley was safe. They pull into a garage and they park. A man approaches Ben's window. It is attorney Dan Norton.
He gets
Whoa.
around, man. This guy's all around town getting shit done.
Yep,
Yeah, is he
he's
like the
getting around.
only lawyer in
LA,
in
yeah.
LA?
Yeah.
Norton tells him, I looked into it and they don't have any kind of solid case against Reyes. The medical examiner said the man found outside Santa Rosa was killed before Reyes escaped. We have a prelim hearing in the morning. The judge will never let it get past that, and Reyes will be a free man.
Whoa.
Ben
Wow.
thanks him and he leaves.
Unless it's
Said
Judge
asks-
Ito.
Judge
Oh,
Ito?
God. Judge Ito, yeah.
Then it could get real, man.
And all the hourglasses.
Oh, boy.
Ben thanks him and he leaves, and Saeed asks who the man was, and Ben says, that's my lawyer.
Of course.
Back on the island somewhere in time, the time travelers are pushing the canoe ashore. Locke says it's going to be hard to tell where they are until it's light out.
Thanks, Locke.
Juliet and Sawyer sit in the sand with their backs against the canoe. She says that before they were shot at, he was about to tell her something. He was going to tell her how it felt to see Kate again. Sawyer says he wasn't about to tell her anything. Juliet suggests he tells her now. Sawyer relents and says, I was close enough to touch her. If I wanted to, I could have stood right up and talked to her. And then
Wow.
Sawyer says, what's done is done. He looks at Juliet horrified. She asks him what's wrong, and he points to her face. Her nose is bleeding.
Uh-oh.
Yet again, somebody's nose is bleeding into their mouth and they have
can't
no
tell.
idea that it's
I
happening.
know.
I know.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
The only one who figured it out by himself was Miles, but I don't know, maybe a dead person told him.
Yeah.
Hey, you're dripping blood on my grave, damn it.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Just then, Charlotte yells, Oi, come look at this. She's found some kind of wreckage on the beach. There's a black box in the ground that Locke flips over with his foot, and it says, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this.
I will
Anybody else
tell
wanna
you.
try?
I will tell you exactly how to pronounce this, and you can guess why I know. It is pronounced B-cis-doos.
Bisistus.
Bless you.
Yes. Thanks.
All right.
And I
I
knew
guess
what was
it's-
coming next.
Oh, well,
Anybody-
as soon as they said this next line, go ahead, Christy.
Locke says, anybody speak French?
Yep. I knew
I
when and
told
where they
you.
were.
I
Yep.
told
Yep.
you you'd see her again.
Cut to a group of French people in a life raft on a stormy sea. Two men are yelling at each other about following the numbers. You're talking about the numbers. And their instruments malfunctioning. Just then they see a body floating in the water. They count their people and realize whoever it is, it's not one of them.
What?
They paddle over.
Oh,
And he wasn't really like a body floating in the water. He was like on a
on a
door that was big enough for Jack as well.
don't ever let go, Rose. Don't ever let go.
All right. Oh my goodness.
So they paddle over and they pull the body into the raft. And when they flip it over, it is motherfucking Jin.
Yeah, boy.
Didn't see that coming at all.
Yes, I'm so glad that was still a surprise for you.
That
Derek.
was.
Yeah, you really thought he was dead.
Yeah, I even said, holy shit, when I was watching it. I said, he's fucking alive. Wow.
Yay! Oh, it's great. And he's been like floating on this door for the entire time that they've been
Yeah, you can
floating
tell when they
through
show his
time.
face later. They did a good job making him look dehydrated and
Yeah.
Yeah.
chapped. And yeah.
Right.
Back in the present, Kate parks her car and asks Jack why he called her today. Jack hands her the piece of paper with her address on it and says, right before I called you, Saeed was attacked. And the guy that did it, your address was in his pocket.
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
Kate just skips over this and wants to know what Saeed was doing in LA. Jack says that it doesn't matter. He has to get her somewhere safe. A car approaches and Jack and Kate exit the car to find Ben Linus getting out of his.
Oh
Of
my God.
course.
He looks right at her and says, hello, Kate.
I know. Like cheery, just hello.
Yep. Jack's like, it's okay. He's with me. And Kate is like, he's with you. Jack says, I know this is going to be hard to understand, but he's here to help us, to help everyone that we left behind. We all need to be together again. Ooh. Kate says, it's him. He's the one who's trying to take A-Aron.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yep.
Jack tries to reassure her that it's not the case, but Ben says, no, Jack, she's right. It was me. Sorry.
Just trying to check your baby.
Kate starts yelling at Ben, asking him who the hell he thinks he is and why he won't leave her son alone. Ben replies, because he's not your son, Kate. The camera zooms out to reveal Son watching the scene from a car. A-Aron's asleep in the back. Son reaches into her bag, grabs the gun, and leaves the car.
What the fuck?
Somewhere in time on the island, Jin wakes up on a beach. It's now daytime and the storm has cleared. The French team is there. Some are gathering their belongings. One's fiddling with a radio phone. They're trying to locate the source of the transmission broadcasting the numbers. A young woman from the team approaches Jin and asks how he's feeling in French. Jin says, no understand. So she switches to English and asks him if he speaks it. He says, little. They continue in English, and she asks him how he got to the island. He said, boat. It's gone. Sink.
Blew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sink is an understatement.
Yeah.
It had like 25 tons of C4 on it.
Seriously.
The woman figures that it must have been caught in the same storm as them. One of the men asks Jin how long he was in the water, but Jin doesn't know. The woman tells the man to leave Jin alone because he's probably in shock. She asks someone to get Jin some water and then removes her coat to show a giant Prego belly.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh!
One of the men hands her a canteen. She opens it, hands it to Jin, and asks his name. He said, Quan Jin Su. Then he gives her the short version, Jin. She says, hello, Jin. I'm Danielle Russo. And Jin is shook.
Ooh.
Lost title screen, end of episode. Boom, mic drop.
Time travel's a bitch.
Do you think you probably would have recognized? I know I realize it's a different actress, but if you meet somebody and then you meet them, like you see them, a version of them like 20 years younger, something tells me you'd recognize them.
I mean,
But
maybe
he doesn't, I don't think he knows that he's been skipping through time.
Yeah, he has no idea what's happening. So all of a sudden, he's in the 80s with a young Danielle, and it's like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's why
but I
he's
would
shocked.
still think he would still recognize her, and then it would have to lock into place at some point. Like, what the fuck is going on? I just think like people's ability to recognize faces is actually pretty strong, typically.
Yeah, but I don't know that they didn't come. I mean, I guess they'd been face to face for a few minutes, but even if, like, imagine, put yourself in Jin's place. Okay, you've been unconscious in the water.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
This French team rescues you. You're trying to figure out what the hell happened. Where are your friends? All of this stuff. I don't know that you would have even if you looked at her and thought, gosh, she looks a lot like Danielle, you're not going to be like, I must be traveling through time.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So I think the shock is appropriate. And also, booyah, Danielle's back. Yee!
It's kind of like Third Day not recognizing his mother when she was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's seen pictures of her when she was young. I mean, I got seen pictures of my parents when they were young, so.
Well, we will have to find out if he knows who she is, and we just don't know that yet.
True.
Or not. All right, who's ready for some fun facts?
I am.
All right.
Today's nuclear war this time?
No. Oh. Today's fun facts is about asteroid 46610, which is named Besis, the word you saw in the episode. So, 46610 Besis is a dark, rocky asteroid about 2 kilometers wide, which is the size of Mount Everest. It is orbiting the sun every 1,250 days or 3.42 years, between Mars and Jupiter in the main portion of the asteroid belt. While NASA does not have the asteroid listed as a threat, it is also not classified as a viable target for human exploration. So it's kind of just out there doing its thing. We'll probably never meet. The number 46610, if you translate it into a hexadecimal system, comes out as B612. In French, you say B612 as B612, which is B612. All right. The hexadecimal system uses 16 symbols instead of 10, which are 0 through 9 and A through F. So that's how you get to the B612. Okay. Astronomers caught a single fleeting glimpse of B612 in 1909 and again in 1886 before its official discovery in 1993. Astronomers at the Katami Observatory in Japan finally gathered enough observations of the asteroid to be sure that it was really there. And then the Minor Planet Center accepted 2 astronauts' suggestion to name the real asteroid after a fictional one. Because B612 is a reference to a French novella called The Little Prince. In the classic children's book, a pilot lost in the Sahara meets a strange little boy who claims to be a space traveler from a tiny asteroid called B612. It's a fanciful little world about the size of a house with 2 active volcanoes, 1 dormant one, and a stubborn infestation of baobab trees and sentient roses. The boy, who the pilot nicknames the Little Prince, tells the pilot that he spent his time on B612 trying to keep the baobab trees in check and tending to the beautiful but demanding rose. He loved the rose but felt that she had used him, so he left B612 to explore other planets. So that is the story of the Little Prince and the real asteroid out there. What do you think?
Cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Isn't that fun how they weave that shit in there? I just love it.
I never even thought of it.
Yeah, I totally love it. All right, guys. Let's do some best and worst moments. How about we start with Ben today?
The worst moment was probably the entire hospital scene where the lady comes out and is just like, oh, you can't practice medicine here. And then he totally does that. He's like, oh, I got a call. I'm not dealing with you.
What I love is that they apparently have no security protocols for the drug addict doctor that they kicked out. And then they just have like controlled drugs just chilling in a random room.
And random people can dress up as nurses and come in and try to,
I know.
Then Mr. Poor Target Acquisition comes in and shoots two darts into again with this tiny little dart gun that fires these massive darts. So yeah, I think the best moments are probably just like finding out when Ben just is like, oh no, that was me. That's my lawyer. I thought that was really funny. And then obviously the reveal that Rousseau is Rousseau and that Jin is also caught in the time slip.
Yeah, and alive.
Yeah, and alive. That too. Yeah.
Yeah, Derek, I want to hear your best and worst moments, and I want to hear more about what you went through emotionally when they pulled Jin out of the water.
Yeah, the worst moment was the same as Ben's. The whole hospital scene was just dumb, So, but yeah, the best moment was for me finding out that Jin was still alive. That that was just like a holy shit moment. Like I never ever would have imagined that.
I love it.
Never saw that coming.
I'm so happy that it surprised you the way it surprised me the first time. Like I remember jumping up and screaming like, fuck yes, he's alive. He's alive.
And also, of course, Rousseau's back. And I also like the scene when Sawyer was watching Kate help Claire give birth.
Yeah.
It's a good scene. Sad.
It'd be funny if he stood up and went, push.
Yeah, push. What? Maybe that's the whispering.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
I mean, excuse me. Sorry, I'm coughing because obviously I'm high. But Derek, that's an actual sort of theory you got there. Maybe we'll talk about that some more at the end of this season. But maybe that is the whispers. People stuck time traveling with the island. I mean, I guess we don't really know. But that's that's an interesting idea that you have for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so you're done. So, Christy,
I am.
how about you?
Awkward silence.
Derp, derp, derp.
I didn't really have any specific worst moments. I didn't really care for most of the off-island stuff.
Yeah. Again, because
It
it's a like Kate focused episode and we always hate that.
Yeah. So for me, best moments, yeah, absolutely Jin being alive. And then I also agree with Derek, the part seeing Sawyer watch Kate coach Claire through the birth of the little asshole.
The little asshole.
Wow.
Yep.
Are you doing the Moz breathing over there?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, for me, like, it's hard not to just say, you know, the moments you see Jin and then you see Danielle again, like that's just has to be at the top for me. But I also agree with what you're saying about Sawyer, and I'll get to that a little bit in my rankings. Worst moment. So you guys all hated the hospital scene. I understand it, and I think it was silly. But again, I like to see Saeed just kind of fighting, whooping ass.
Well, that was the best part of that scene was him.
Yeah,
you know,
and
whipping the
yeah.
stormtrooper's ass.
Right. But other than that, yeah, I didn't really have too many moments that I hated. I think I'll go right into my rankings because I have some things to say about those particular scenes. But yeah, I only had A-Aron in my worst. I wasn't really mad at anyone else. And I guess we've just decided we hate that child. So I put him there. Third best, I had Saeed. I feel like haven't given him enough love through these first like few episode rankings because I mean he's really busting an ass and he's doing the best he can and he really wants to protect Hurley and I love that. And then also, you know, he whooped ass again. So
He was tranquilized for 42 hours.
Yeah, I was going to say
too,
Right.
he's been kind of a sleeper pick this season.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I understand that he was stuck in a K-hole, but what I'm saying is somehow I looked back at my rankings and somehow he hadn't been in the top for everything he'd already done, and then in this episode he did something else, you know, another good fight, and so I thought it's kind of a cumulative for me putting Saeed
Got
there.
it.
Give him some love. Second best, I had Dan Faraday. You know, he's still working hard and trying to save everybody, and he's adorable. And in the top, I had Sawyer, and a lot of it was specifically because of that scene. Just watching him like process those emotions and seeing her again, and then also that he was able to communicate that to Juliet instead of just holding it inside. That's like fucking huge for Sawyer to be able, you know, to be like, I'm in this place and I saw her and to show that vulnerability to Juliet. I thought that was a really big deal. So that's why he's in the top. I am going to fuck Danielle and Jin, another threesome. Actually, my gosh, I only have one episode without a threesome so far this season, I think. But yep, I'm very excited to see them both. So I'm going to fuck them and I'm going to kill A-Aron because why not?
Why not?
Ben, what about you?
I didn't have a third worst. I didn't have a second worst. I only had a worst, and it was A-Aron. I think I may have started something here. Yeah. He definitely will. For third best, I've got Locke, which now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not actually sure why I put him there. I think it was more of what he did the previous episode that I think that I was digging on, but I kind of had a carryover here. There weren't a ton of strong performances in this episode. That may be what it was.
That's why I had Saeed. That was kind of cumulative for me too. So that's fair.
Yeah. Second place, same. I got Dan Faraday. You know, he's trying to solve things. He's trying to be helpful. He's trying to do what he can. And then I got Sawyer in the top spot. I think the thing, and I kind of echo that sentiment, like the fact that he opened up when Locke talked to him about it, he shut him down. He's like, no, Johnny boy, I'm not getting into this shit with you. But he does seem to have sort of a soft spot for Juliet, and through her, he is able to open up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, put him there. I'm not going to kill anybody. I think it's fashionable to kill A-Aron, but I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to hate on him, but I'm not going to kill him. I am actually also going to have a threesome, except I'm going to have a threesome with Kate and Rousseau.
Uh-huh. That's fair.
Yeah.
Derek, what about you?
I didn't have a second or third worst, but my worst, of course, was A-Aron.
Oh my gosh!
Poor kid can't do anything right.
No, as soon as he's born, he starts crying.
Yep.
How dare he?
Yeah, damn crying babies. My third best, I put Jin in there, because he's been out there floating in the ocean for a while. He just needs a little love. And
And some
second
water.
best, yeah, definitely needs some water. Dan Faraday's my second because, again, he's trying to help everyone out. And then first is Sawyer for same reasons as y'all.
Wow, good job, Sawyer. Is he going to sweep this week?
Well, I think he
Yeah,
might.
I'm gonna fuck Kate just one-on-one, no threesomes, and I'm not gonna kill anybody this week.
Aw.
All
I'm gonna
right.
spare the little bastard.
Oh my God, am I the only one that killed the kid? Jesus Christ, Christy, what do you have?
So I put A-Aron on the bottom of the bottom. He's my
Okay.
third worst.
All right.
Dan Norton is second because, ugh. And then Ben is the worst of all.
Huh?
Do you just not like his
Ugh.
face, Dan Norton? Because he's just a lawyer doing his thing. So I'm wondering, is the hatred just like his kind of smarminess, or is it that he represents Ben Linus?
While I recognize that he's just a lawyer doing his thing, and if I were in any kind of, legal jeopardy, I would probably want a lawyer that was going to fight for me. But I just don't like that he's working against, Kate and
Yeah.
the little asshole.
Yeah.
Well, and it's Ben that hired him to do that, so it makes sense
Yeah.
that you would hate the guy because you hate Ben, and he's like sending him.
Yeah.
It's sort of his minion, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
so
I
that makes
asked that
sense.
because I had originally, when I was first doing this, when I wrote it down, I wrote him down in the bottom. But then I started trying to think about it. I was like, why do I not like this character? I actually do find his face kind of punchable, and that's one of the things. What I like, something about the guy just sort of, and the fact that he is a lawyer makes me kind of just want to beat on him a little bit. But
Yeah.
No, I don't like lawyer hate. Everybody hates lawyers till they need one.
And then in the top,
All right.
in number 3 spot, I have Daniel Faraday.
All right.
He is still trying to, help everybody. In the second spot, I have Juliet. And then at the top of the top, I have Sawyer. I really love that Juliet can calm him and just be like, go away, James. Like, you're not being helpful right now. So just walk away. But I also do love how Sawyer was opening up to her. She's good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make a good pair.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially like even under pressure,
Yes.
they work together. They definitely have very different qualities, which, you know, kind of balance each other out, I think. Yeah.
she's a lot more cerebral than he is.
Well, yeah.
Slightly,
Yeah.
Just like you cumulatively, I'm going to go with fuck Saeed because,
You need some love.
and his hair looked really good in this episode.
Yeah.
And he's awake.
And he's,
Yeah,
and
there's
he's,
that. Yeah.
he's out of the K-hole.
Yeah. And then big shocker, Christy's going to kill Ben.
Oh. So I'm the only one that murdered the child. That's fabulous.
You
All right.
are, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Well, this week.
Don't send me an email. Ben, I'm just kidding. Send us emails. Ben, can you update us on the rankings after episode 4? Please,
I
thank you.
can. After episode 4, we have a couple new entries into the tops and bottoms. First, in third place, we have A-Aron with negative
my
23
God.
points, edging Ethan out of the bottom 3. So,
Oh my God, we hate Aaron more than Ethan.
Oh my God.
This is going to be fucked up because now I have to put on social media our worst characters with a little baby face on it. People are going to be like, what the fuck
Big
is
old
wrong with
head.
you?
Big old head.
Yeah, I'm definitely picking the fat-headed baby one.
Yes.
All right.
Turn
no,
ahead.
Second worst.
no change there on the second from the bottom. It's still Frogurt with negative 29 points. And no change at the bottom. It's still Charles Widmore with negative 32 points.
All right.
We do have some jockeying in the top three. Hurley falls out of second place and falls into third place with 20 points. No gain or loss this week.
Being in jail will do that to you.
Yep. Sawyer
Static
leapfrogs
numbers.
him from 14 points to 34 points to claim second place. And Dan Faraday maintains a fairly commanding lead with moving from 39 points up to 49 points.
Wow.
Damn, big Dan F. All right. These rankings
Every
are
day is
exciting
fair
so
day.
far. Let's do some final impressions. Ben, I would like to start with you, please.
I mean, it's a bit of a placeholder episode. I understand why they did this. There's a lot of people that they've got to get together. So the whole off-island thing with everybody kind of running around LA on their silly little misadventures, it was what it was. I mean,
Well, it's episode 4, right? So they draw us in and give us a bunch of shocks and all of these things in the opening episodes.
Yeah.
A little bit of a lull while people are coming together, but that should tell us that like something's coming.
Yeah, I mean, they're having to connect a lot of that tissue around everybody getting back to the island. So, you know, the fact that it comes out that it actually was Dan Norton that was in Ben's employ specifically to get the kid back, it shows that Ben he's going to do what he needs to do to get everybody there by hook or by crook. On the island, again, not a whole lot happened. It seems like they're just kind of tooling around, getting sucked through time. The only piece about it that I thought was sort of endearing was Sawyer's kind of experience in seeing Kate. The whole thing with Locke and the hatch and all that didn't really do anything for me. It did tell you like when in time we were talking about, which I think kind of informs Sawyer's experience, but that was sort of a kind of a lark. I didn't really think that was even necessary. I actually think it would have been more impactful if you didn't know when they were, and then he happens upon there and just sees Kate out of random. Because now, because Locke had already seen that, you kind of suspect, oh, now somebody else is going to run into somebody. Or if they hadn't teased that, I think it would have been more impactful. So,
I see.
It was a decent episode, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones that you got to have to sort of so that you have really, really good ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can agree with that. I do think some big and awesome things, happened in this episode with Jin and Danielle and all of those things. Yep. But yeah, I also agree that it's a lot. It's a lot of playing chess, and right now all of the pieces are moving, and we really don't see the next big like challenge yet.
Yeah.
However, I did like this episode really for like the growth of Sawyer. I just think it's so awesome. I'm loving he and Juliet as a pair. And yeah, I think I would put it as a middle of the road episode. There was nothing bad about it, but it does leave me wanting more. I want to see like what is happening at the marina. Who are they going? Where are they going? And I'd love to get to it. Christy, what about you?
I mean, I agree a lot with both of you. I already said I didn't really care for the off-island LA storyline that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
I do love the whole interaction between Juliet and Sawyer. Yeah, overall kind of meh.
Yeah.
Just ready for the next one.
Perfect. Well, next week. I think I forgot to say, Ben, the one thing I think I disagreed with you on is the seeing the hatch light and Locke seeing that and us seeing that. Because for me, the experience was like it brought back all of that excitement and energy from that moment in that season, which was such a big moment and blew me away the first time I saw it. It was like one of those pivotal moments where I kept saying like, "Ooh, yes, this is the show for me," right?
Yeah.
And so it brought all of that back for me. I understand what you were saying too about you wanted to be more surprised that he just sort of came upon Kate. Oh my God. I did not mean to word it. I did not.
After game of three hole.
He came
Yeah.
the Kate.
The thing about it is that the emotional investiture in this episode is in Sawyer. It's not in Locke.
Yeah.
So by doing that with Locke, I get it. It's like, oh, that was what made me want to watch this show. But to me, it was a tell. It was a giveaway.
Okay. I could also see, like, from the writing perspective of doing that to leave your audience sitting there going, like, is he going to see Kate? Is he going to see Kate? Is he going to see Kate? So there could be a little bit of that, too. Yeah.
I always imagine
Derek.
like it might have been, imagine this. Imagine it might have been cool if Sawyer's sitting there, you know, that's happening, and then all of a sudden out of the corner of his eye, the light turns on while he's watching her give birth. Like they could have teased that in a few different ways.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, I loved it this way, but I see your point too. Derek, what'd you think of what was this episode? The Little Prince.
The Little Prince. The little A-Aron asshole.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The little asshole.
What did you think of The Little Prince, and did it leave you with any like questions or theories? And
Yeah, I thought
like
it was
that?
a decent episode. You know, everyone's coming back together to go back to the island. It turns out that Ben Linus is the one who wants the little bastard with the lawyer. And on the island, you know, the survivors get chased and end up, you know, doing some time traveling. And we see that Danielle just arrived and Jen is alive.
Woo-woo!
And the only question I really had is who is chasing the survivors in the canoes or outriggers?
Oh, okay. Well,
Good question.
you know, to tell you the truth, I can't remember if that's something we ever find out. It's fun.
That would be a weird like loose end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's clearly in the future. The camp is like old.
And that
at that
airline
point.
water bottle, you know, it's got to have something.
Yeah.
Right. It had the water bottle in it. Oh, right. It had never mind. Then I do know who was in the canoe, or at least I have an idea. I just had forgotten at this time, and now I remember. So,
All right, I guess
There
we'll
you go.
find out.
Yeah, good.
Whoop. All right. Anywho's. Guys, next week, Wednesday, January 24th, we are season 5, episode 5. It's called This Place is Death. It's a Sun and Jin episode, and it's a Derek episode. We get to know the French team. The time jumps start to get dangerous, and the smoke monster is back.
Oh,
Woo!
whatever
We'll see you
that
next
thing
week.
was.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Lost in My 40s is a Space Bear Media production. Executive produced and edited by me, Lacey J. Sound engineering, editing, and original music by Benjamin Trimp. Like and follow Lost in My 40s on Facebook and SpaceBear_Media on Instagram and Threads. Plus, follow Space Bear Media on YouTube for extra video content. Or for everything in one place, go to spacebearmedia.com.